Hey, welcome to Integrative Preparedness. I'm Steve Smith. How are you all today? I'm great. It's going to be another scorcher. It's going to be up around 100 degrees. Sitting out with a good hot cup of coffee. I want to talk today about momentum, what I consider to be probably the most important aspect of preparing. Before we get to that, this is brought to you by the Stonemont series, my books, in which I detailed as you could possibly want, how to prepare for, how to survive, and how to rebound from and rebuild after a total collapse. In these books, I won't tell you whether it's an EMP or a CME. There's a little bit of difference in there. You'll have to read through at least the second book to find out which it is, but it's one of them. And like I've always said, if you are prepared for an EMP or CME, you're prepared for pretty much anything else, and that's why I always encourage to it. Anyway, yeah, that's what brings this video to you today, and I am busily writing the sixth one, which I haven't. Oh, did I tell you I didn't tell you the names of them. It starts with the reversion, then the revival, then the renewal, then an appeal to heaven, and then the blessings of freedom. You know, we really have been blessed in this country. And now we're going through some challenges, and we're going to see what we're going to be able to do about it. These are available on Amazon in either Kindle or trade paperback. I always put the links down here, both in the information section and then as a pinned comment right below the link that tells you how to get to our Patreon channel. If you're not over on Patreon, you might want to consider it. I put a lot of stuff over there that I don't put on YouTube. Matter of fact, today, after I get done with this, or maybe a little bit later, I'll be making one for our Patreon members on how much do you really need to train with your bang bangs? And I think the answer might surprise you. It's my opinion, but it's based on a lot of experience. So that's who brings you this. You know, when people ask me, when they first come to me asking some advice about preparedness, of course, you know, depending on how serious I think they are, and whether they're really listening or not, and how long we have to talk, that determines how much detail I get into, if it's on a one-on-one basis. But of course, you know, I'll lay out the rule of threes, right? Air, shelter, water, food, blah blah blah, all of that. But the one thing that I stress to them is to do something every day. Do something toward their preparedness every day. Make it a habit. You know, I see a lot of people that tell me that occasionally they'll get burned out. And you know, they'll get and this really comes from getting all hyped up, overly hyped over the troubles of the day, you know, the latest news cycle, the latest horrible thing that's going to happen, and there's always going to be those, and it's difficult to keep yourself at that level of excitability and focus, you know, for an extended period of time, and just wears on you, and it can be a positive. And I think that you should always, you should live your life in condition yellow, not just as applies to what Jeff Cooper talked about, but totally everything in the world. But when you are at that level for an extended period of time, and nothing happens, and you know, this latest thing that was supposed to destroy the world didn't happen, and this next thing that was supposed to destroy the world didn't happen, and you know, well, I mean, the novice, the new person, the one who's not coming at preparedness for the right reason, you know, starts to go, well, why am I doing all this? I mean, I'm spending this money. I've built new shelves, right? I've carried stuff to the basement or in the garage. My wife or husband is looking at me weird and thinking I'm nuts. And why am I doing this? And it will help, it can cause people to doubt themselves and doubt what they're doing. Well, the remedy for that comes in a couple of different stages. The first is approach preparedness as you approach any other kind of insurance that you carry, because it is insurance. You don't look at every time your car insurance deduction is made out of your bank account. You don't go, oh man, I didn't get in a wreck this month. I don't know if it's all wasted money. Every month that your house doesn't burn down, you don't look at your homeowner's policy. Oh man, why am I spending all that money? No. It's what we do to kind of protect ourselves against the unforeseen, right? And those things that could have a big old hornet, I think. That could have a very negative effect on our lives. Preparedness needs to be seen the same way. Preparedness, as I've said before, is the ultimate responsibility. It's making sure that when challenges come along or bad things happen, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right with the things that you need, and that is you're going to be able to breathe, have some shelter, have water, and food. Well, so that's the first thing that the person needs to get through their mind. It shouldn't be a hobby. It shouldn't be something done frantically. It should become a lifestyle. Now, how do you make it a lifestyle? Well, things become a part of your lifestyle when they become a habit, right? I mean, the things that you do, the things that you do for work, the things you do for entertainment, the things that you do just because you got to do them. You mow your lawn because, well, if you don't, your neighbors will not think that you're, should live there much longer. You do those things because they need to be done. So that's the first thing you realize. Preparedness needs to be done, and then it needs to be made a habit. I've heard this. It takes 21 days to set a habit, 21 days to break a habit, or I forget. It's something like that. But that's a good thing to understand. So the first thing that I tell people after I kind of give them the basics is do something every day. Every day. Momentum is really, momentum is just so important in everything, whether it's walking 100 miles or studying or working or whatever it is, digging a trench to plant your potatoes. By the way, I just dug up some beautiful potatoes this morning that I'm going to go and fry up for breakfast here in a little bit. Picked some beautiful tomatoes that I'm going to put in my omelet, and beautiful potatoes that I'm going to fry up along with it. So whatever it is, it's just a matter of momentum and keep going. So every day, I knew a thief one time. I knew a thief who was talking, and he told me, he says, I tell young thieves, the reason that I am so good is because it's a way of life. Amateur thieves do it sporadically. They do it emotionally. They do it, off the cuff. Just, whenever they see something of opportunity, or maybe they'll think about it and plan something, and then go good. But they get caught a lot. He says because it's not their lifestyle. He says my lifestyle, and what this is him talking, not me. What he would tell young people that want to be thieves, is make sure that you steal something every day. Now that's weird, right? I mean, that's hopefully that's not the mindset you have. I'm sure that it's not if you're watching here. And if it is, unsubscribe or else turn your life around. I'd rather you turn your life around and stay here. Become a good person. But that was it. He says it's got to be a habit. It's got to be such a part of your life that it's just normal. So that when you're involved in it, it's not something unusual. It doesn't feel unusual. It does, whatever. Do you remember what was it? Oliver Twist, and I forget the name of the main characters in that, other than Oliver Twist. And it actually was, and you can go into the Russian war now, the Society of Thieves and things like that, whatever. I don't mean to get deeply into that, but it really was. It was a lifestyle. Well, by the same token, preparedness needs to be a lifestyle. It can't be something that you do out of emotion. It has to be something that adds to your life, because usually emotions detract from your life. Because emotions can be up and down. You're going to be at the mercy of whatever emotional wind happens to be blowing at the time. And that's no way to run anything important in your life, and preparing is very important. So do something every day, no matter what it is. Doesn't have to be big. And as some people will say, well, I can't afford, because so often, especially young guys or men for the most part, even older, a lot of times when they first get into prepping, they think of guns immediately. Well, I'll tell you what, guns is such a small segment of preparedness. If I was going to put it on a bar graph, you'd hardly see it. It's important that you have the ability to protect yourself and what's yours. But how often you're going to have to go there? It's so seldom. It's barely worth mentioning compared to how much you need to provide for food and water and shelter and all of that. So do something every day. And no, you don't have to go out and buy a new gun every day. Although I think some people seem to think they need to. You don't have to go buy a bunch of ammo every day. If you bought a bunch of ammo when you should have, you'll never need to buy any more, probably. But every day, do something. And I tell people, well, what did I do yesterday? Okay, I went and got another generator. Do I have a generator? Yes, I have a generator, of course. You probably do too. But I had an opportunity, a great deal came along for a dual fuel generator. I got it for a great price. So it runs off of propane as well as gasoline. And I have gasoline generators. This is going to be I'll be talking about this. I'll probably make a separate video on this some other time. But this I'll be able to run on either propane or gasoline. That's an important prep. What else did I do yesterday? I filled up more 55-gallon drums of water, close to the house. I started, I painted the outside of some new planting bins that I'm going to put out there. So those are three things that I did yet. Plus I read a lot of, I proofread a lot of the 6th book, which when I get about halfway through a book, I'll go back and I'll start reading again, because so much happens in those books. It's surprising if you don't write every day, and I don't. I probably am going to get to where I'll write every day, but right now there's so much going on. And you have to go back. I have to go back and read from the very beginning to catch myself up and say, okay, I remember that. And I'll be real honest. If yesterday, before I started reading through it again, if I had to track the entire story of the 6th book, I wouldn't have been able to do it, because as I read through, I kept coming to scenes like, oh yeah, boy, and I really enjoyed writing that scene, and now I'm enjoying reading that scene and all that. So I did that. And how is that part of preparedness? Because that's my job. I'm a writer. That's how I make my living, right? So that's preparedness. Remember, working is preparedness. Working gives you the ability to prepare better and to prepare more. So today, what I'll do, I'm going to start some new seeds. This has been a brutal summer, and my garden's doing okay because I'm watering a lot, but the heat itself, tomatoes don't produce well over 90 degrees, and some other plants. Gardening is really something. It takes you a long time to get used to it, and this is kind of the last 2 seasons, since we don't need the food to survive, I've used it as kind of experimental. I'm seeing where I can put different plants in different kinds of shade, and how much shade, how much sunlight, the effects that it has. I know I can read all that stuff, but nothing teaches you like doing it yourself, right? So today I'll be starting new seeds in seed trays that I'll be putting out there, because I think I have enough time, if history is any witness, to have another growth season in here before we come into the fall. And like I've said before, I'll probably, the fall garden will go in, late August, early September, because the seasons really they've been pushing off later and later and later here in my area. So I will start those, and then I'm going to fill a bunch more 55-gallon drums of water close to the house, because I think that it's been a dry year, and what if we never know what's going to happen. We're entering a very interesting time of a political cycle. So I never feel badly having too much water, so I'm going to fill up a bunch of those. By the way, I had someone ask me on Patreon, said about water. He was limited in space and things like that, and kind of asked for some advice. I'll just say it here. Is there a place on your property or in your basement, in your garage, wherever, that you can fill 55 gallon? I know they're not easily transportable, like 2 liters, and I suggest having a bunch of 2 liters filled, just in case you need to, scram. They're a lot easier to throw in the back of your car or your pickup or your SUV or your trailer or whatever. You can't throw a 55. Have you ever tried to lift a 55 gallon drum of water or any liquid? It ain't gonna happen. Or can you get an IBC tote? You get them in 275 gallon and larger. Don't buy them new, because pretty much if you're close to, well, you don't have to be close to a big city, because a lot of them are out there in smaller towns, but you can get them all over the place for a lot less than new ones. Don't get new ones, and they will have already flushed them out for you and washed them out and all that. So that's what I'm doing today, filling those, and then I'll be getting back to write on the book. But whatever it is you do every day, momentum is your friend, and interruption and emotions are your enemy. So every day do something, whether that is buying another pack of batteries, buying 5 more cans of soup, buying 10 more pounds of ground beef to put in your freezer, whatever it is, do something every day, so that, and get up, with that in your mind. What am I going to do today? I'm going to do one thing. If it gets to the afternoon, the evening, you haven't done something, so whoops, got to do something. I'm going to run to the grocery store and buy 5 more pounds of rice or pasta or something like that. Okay, it makes it a habit. It makes it a part of your life, just like that thief, right? And then it's not unusual, and pretty soon you're not going to be able to break that habit, and then it becomes a part of your lifestyle, as opposed to a hobby or just something that you're doing because you're scared. Don't prep out of fear. Prep out of smarts, and prep out of a feeling of strength and control and care and responsibility, because that's exactly what it is. So I'm going to go in and I'm going to make breakfast. I've got a lot more to do today. Going to make breakfast, fry up those potatoes, have some eggs with tomatoes and onions that I also pulled out of the onion bed out there, and it's going to be great. Remember, if you haven't become a stone malter yet, and that's what we call those who have read the Stone Malt series, or at least you've started with the reversion, I think you'd enjoy them. All the lessons that I talk about are in here, expanded far beyond what I could ever do on a video. So do that. Join us on Patreon if you'd like. Like I said, later on today probably I'll make one on how much do you really need to train? I think I think a lot of people mislead people on that, and I think you're going to be surprised at what I have to say. So join us there if you'd like. I guess that's it. You all have a good day. Remember that we prepare well today in order to live well tomorrow. And I prepared well some time ago when I planted those potatoes I'm going to eat, and those tomatoes I'm going to eat, and those onions I'm going to eat. And then today I'll do something to prepare for a better tomorrow. So I hope you all do. You have a good day. I'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye-bye.